Keeping you informed. This is In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS.
Good morning and welcome to In.form here on WBDC and in WJTS on a very special day. It is Monday, November 11th. It is Veterans Day, and I'm joined in the studio with two fine gentlemen. That term is used loosely this morning. However, please welcome Dave Flynn.
Hello. Hey.
And Steve Lindauer.
Good morning. Hoorah.
With the Southern Indiana Leatherneck Detachment Marine Corps League. It's Veterans Day. Having veterans in here this morning, thank you both for your service.
And you likewise,
Thank
Ty.
you also, Ty.
Thank you. This is why I don't usually host this thing, but I'm doing it today as a veteran, and plus nobody else wanted to deal with you two.
Well, understandably.
Yeah.
If you look at your desk.
We've got a reputation.
It is a very special day today, and that, of course, is Veterans Day. There is so many things going on right now, and for you watching this later on WJTS, some of these things have obviously already happened, but there's a reason for this day, and that is because men and women out there have answered this nation's call and have signed that check, that blank check for this country. Now, not to start on a more sad note, but it wasn't always like this.
Right.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, you always look at everything, and you put it all into perspective. And, a lot of times it was just glossed over or looked at in kind of, not negative isn't the right word, but just, looked upon as, I don't want to get involved. It's sad, but really this is a day of celebration for the country and for all veterans.
Right. I just had this conversation earlier this past weekend. We were talking about the differences, how it is now getting out of the military versus back when I was getting out. Frankly, it was like, don't let the door hit your butt. And probably maybe that's not fair, but that's what it felt like to me. And particularly, I was in Vietnam era, and I did not serve in Vietnam, but my brother-in-law, Arnie and Daryl, both of them served during that time period, and didn't always get the welcome going through the airports and things like that. Now it's different. Colonel, you probably remember, what the acronym now where they have these when guys are getting out. Isn't there some kind of a program prior to actually
a tap process? You tap just like you hear on like some of the fight shows. You tap out. It's a process where, it can be weeks and even a month long when you're getting out of the military, regardless of how long you've been in. And you go through the process to help you start simulating back into society and off of the military daily routine.
Right. I tell people often, for myself, going in the Marine Corps was, don't get me wrong, it was not easy. It was the toughest thing I ever did in my life. But all you had to do was do what you're told. And I think, Ty, you can probably relate to that. And I know the Colonel can as well. And but getting out, it's just, there's nobody to tell you what to do, and you kind of lose that sense of purpose. Whatever your rank is, and whatever your MOS is, and whatever you did, whether you saw combat or not, there was a structure to it, and you had a purpose. And all of a sudden, you come back out, and you're a civilian. You look around like, what the hell just happened to me? And how do I get back into the world? How do I be now a part of society that does not include guns and blowing things up? And
some make that transition easier than others, and some really struggle with that.
Right.
And that is, thankfully, the U.S. military has learned through past conflicts that taking care of the soldier after they have transitioned out of the service is important. There are programs out there. There are counseling centers. There's a slew of things, even here locally, as Steve did, we've worked with many times, programs here locally for those individuals that may not have transitioned successfully like that and still carry a lot of the weight of their service for whatever it's from.
Yeah, there's guys carrying demons,
There are, and everybody has a different experience with everything in life. It doesn't matter if you've been in the military or not. But for people who have served, I mean, there are so many ways that you can, it's not a helping hand or a handout. I mean, these are benefits and services that we have all earned for serving the country. No one's giving up anything. They're there purposely for us to try and assist us transition back and be the type of people in every community that you would want to have.
I mentioned this earlier this morning. I had an opportunity to talk to a Girl Scout troop on Friday night, and this has been through my head for many years, but when you think about Veterans Day and telling, a veteran thank you, for me, as you alluded to earlier, when we got back in 2008, there were parades. I don't think I bought a beer in a year. And people really went out of their way to thank us for what we did over there. But again, as we mentioned Vietnam, none of those guys got that. In fact, sadly, a lot of them got worse, spit on and called names. And it's hard to fathom, especially these younger generations that obviously weren't around then, to picture that in their heads of people, because especially in this area, we were very lucky in this area with the support for our troops, but it wasn't always like that. It's hard for the younger generations to even comprehend of how bad it was, how society operated back then.
And it was because, again, it wasn't, as we say, wasn't a popular war or popular campaign. I mean, the country wasn't necessarily behind it as a whole, where, like you've said, I mean, present day conflicts and stuff, there is a lot more groundswell of support for whatever reason, right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, it wasn't wrong for some of the people to be against, different conflicts in the past. But again, the veteran who, especially in the Vietnam era, a lot of these people were drafted. It wasn't what, like, they walked down and wanted to join up for the all-volunteer force. So again, different mindset, different set of circumstances. And luckily today, for such a large country, we maintain a strong active duty force. And, people volunteer, and, we get enough volunteers for the type of force we have. But that couldn't be done, and I know we talked earlier, without the support of the Guard and Reserve. I mean, it is the preponderance of the force. I mean, without the Guard and Reserve, we have no active force. So that is a key component and a key element that a lot of people overlook.
So please, today, if you know a veteran, whether it's grandpa, dad, brother, sister, uncle, neighbor, whoever it may be, please thank them for the service and ask if they're doing okay.
And if you get a chance, go to these veteran different ceremonies. I know we had some in the county this weekend with a mass and our honored living veteran we did on Saturday. But I know even today at 9 o'clock, the middle school here in Jasper was starting their program. I know the high school program at the gym starts at 10 o'clock, and that is open to the public. It's open to all veterans. And if you haven't had the pleasure of going to see this happen in person or be involved in it, you really should. I was honored, I think, in 2013 to speak to the assembly, and it is really a fantastic experience.
All the local schools do such a great job with their respective Veterans Day programs. It is. I've spoken at some of them over the years, and every one of them just does a fantastic job. Not only are there programs at the high school today, and again, if you're watching this tonight on WJTS, some of these things have already happened, but there's a lot of businesses and organizations out there that extend maybe some free food or whatever. It's just as a thank you to veterans, and we're going to cover a couple of them that happened today.
Yeah, I just you had mentioned some of these events. I just attended one. I've got my grandkids go to Holy Trinity. I guess called East Campus. When I was growing up, it was called Holy Family School, and the entire student body came out. And there were probably maybe a dozen or more of us veterans that were standing, and the Boy Scout troop raised the flag, and we had a bugler there. It was really neat. And then the teachers had us line up on the steps, all the veterans, and every child came past and shook the hand of a veteran. I mean, talk about putting a lump in your throat,
It is important, and I know at the elementary schools here throughout Jasper, I know at Ireland Elementary School, my granddaughter's already told me, because the third grade hosts the veteran program every year, and since Grandpa was a veteran, then I got to make sure I have that on my calendar next year not to be anywhere.
It is so cool that they do such a great job. So hats off to all the organizers that have put these programs on and continue to do so. Again, Ferdinand American Legion's got free breakfast this morning. The Legacy Steakhouse in Jasper, half price to veterans on the pizza buffet. Goodorf Plumbing, Heating, Electrical running a promotion as well. So many different businesses, organizations out there are just doing a little bit to say thanks to our veterans out there.
From Cranberries this morning,
Cranberries does have a program for a free meal for veterans to go into today at any time.
And I hear this all the time, and I'm guilty of it in the past too. If you're a veteran and you're not taking advantage of these things, do so. You earned it.
Right. It's not anything to be ashamed of or feel, like you have to hide it. I mean, this is a way for different businesses, and this is a very veteran-friendly area. Most businesses, give some type of veterans discount or something else, and that's what makes not just the city of Jasper and the county of Dubois, this whole area in southern Indiana is veteran-centrific. I mean, we have very high preponderance of military service throughout this area.
Higher than most part of the state, actually.
And it's noticed. I mean, if you go to, on Memorial Day, if you go to any cemetery or any place else, you can see the flags and the markers at almost every tombstone. So, yes, veterans should take advantage of what the community wants to do for us as a whole.
Again, to all the men and women out there who have answered this nation's call, a very happy Veterans Day. For those of you listening on WBDC, we'll be right back with Steve and Dave. This has been In.form on 18 WJTS and WBDC.
This has been In.form on WBDC and 18 WJTS. Catch past episodes on our social media pages and our websites. If it matters to you, it matters to us. In.form.